back to Ozarks tonight. I'm Heather Lewis. Children aging out of foster care will soon have a new place to call home as they transition into adult life. Casey Ray is the Vice President of Operations at the Good Samaritan Boys Ranch, the organization making all of this possible. Yes. Thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about construction that is underway on this new apartment complex.
Yes, so we have broken ground. It's actually starting to take shape. I see the footprint out there. We are building an apartment complex for kids that are beginning to age out of foster care. Right across the parking lot, we already have a group home for kids that are a little bit younger, but we needed a place kind of in between that they could start to feel what it's like to be out on their own. Apartments are scary.
Yeah,
and so
sure.
to have the opportunity to have them have their own space and start to feel what it's like to be in their own apartment. So we're excited about it.
So they age out at the age of 18, correct?
They have the opportunity to start to phase out, but we can actually keep them until they're 21.
Oh, how
So
about
it's an
that?
awesome opportunity to be able to start to learn some of the processes for that, and then we can help pay the rent and help do that until they're really ready to go.
Yeah, and let's talk about the life skills that come, because, you know, if you're in foster care, sometimes you're with different families. Stability is hard to find, and you might not learn all those life skills along the way. So how important is this transition?
Absolutely. You know, we all had, I know I had some support as I crossed through those years, and I still probably stumbled my way through most of the time. So, you know, these kids, they need someone that's going to be there, not just teaching them, but also helping them learn. So when they mess up or when they're not experiencing some defeats, like someone that's going to help pick them back up. So they need some consistent people. They need people that are going to be lifelong connections in their lives, and we try to coordinate and we're one of those lifelong connections. We have a saying, once our kid, always our kid. But beyond that, they need people beyond us, and so we try to mentor people in the community to come along and come alongside these kids, and in addition to helping them just build skills and build different things that they're going to need to use to get through the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's just like paying bills and all that stuff too.
You
just
paying bills, grocery shopping,
yeah.
right? And making sure you're not going to get the most expensive thing.
Yep. So. Okay, sticking to the budget. Exactly.
Yes.
So talk about this apartment complex. How many apartments will there be? And I know that you're also building an office nearby too.
Yes, it's exciting. We have lots of things going on. So we're going to have an 8-unit apartment complex, and it is really meant as a gap. So we already rent apartments in the community. So we already rent probably 15, 20 apartments at a time in Springfield. What we need is somewhere in the middle where we can still support some of these kids before they transition out into the community. So it's going to be an 8-unit apartment complex. They're going to be 1-bedroom units, so they're really going to get the feel of what it's like on their own. And then right next door to the building, we're going to add an office space. So the Good Samaritan Boys Ranch has been around for 60 years. This is our 60th anniversary this year, 1959.
Wow.
And so we're gearing up for what we're calling our next 60, and this office space is a part of our next 60. It's going to house our Good Samaritan Family Services, which we've had only for about a year. We're licensing and recruiting foster families, which we need a ton. So if you're interested in becoming a foster parent, let us know. It's going to house that. We're going to look at adding community services that we can do some counseling and really start to make a bigger difference than what we've done historically. It's really different for us. So we're excited about that too.
And we should mention there's at least 13,000 kids in foster care just in the state of Missouri.
Yes. It's such a huge need. Missouri, all states are struggling with it, but we've got to do a better job taking care of our kids, not just the ones aging out. That's a huge piece of it, but we got to do just a better job taking care of our own kids in general. And so projects like this, we hope we can start to gain some ground on this and start to offer some services to the community and the public even before they actually reach crisis level, right? So we can help them, so maybe they don't even have to come into foster care. So that's one of our hopes.
And let's talk about that transition period too. So when they age out, what happens to these kids? Is it just like, okay, you're aged out of the system, you're on your own, or thankfully there's some services like you guys provide, but what is that process?
You know, so for us, at least, the kids that come through our program, when they turn 21, essentially what it means is that the state kind of backs away, and so in theory some of those other services back away. One of the things that we work really hard, especially through their last few months before they age out, is to make sure that they have all the services they need, right? So can they pay their rent? Do they have a job that's viable that's going to pay their rent? Do they have the support system that they need? Do they have these things that are going to equip them to be ready? So we look at that, we kind of, not a checklist necessarily, but go around, make sure they have all the services they need as they wrap around. So our goal is that when they age out, that could be a really scary time. Our hope is that it's a real stable time. So we try to get them into their own apartment by that time. The lease is in their name. We have furnished it. It gets to stay in their name. They don't have to move move one more time at the end of this whole foster care thing, they could, in theory, just stay in that place and begin their new life. And that's the hope. That's the ideal situation where we get the kids really set up and where it doesn't really change a whole lot. But we're still there if they need it. We're still there in crisis. Doesn't matter how old you are. We'll be there for them in crisis. But in theory, they're kind of ready. And
take ownership of their life.
They do. And it's we try to make it a gradual thing. Sometimes it's sudden, and you get those rare instances. But we try to make it a gradual thing so that just because your birthday comes doesn't mean all of a sudden it feels different, right? I wake up on my 21st birthday and where'd everybody go? That's not the intention. So we really try to work hard to make sure they have enough services. And this is a process. It's not a moment.
Very good. And when do we expect this new apartment complex in the office to be completed?
I hope tomorrow. No.
That'd be nice, right? We'll just snap our fingers.
For it, right? Yeah, no. So hopefully towards the end of the year or early 2020. So okay. I'm banking on that late in the year, but probably more likely early 2020.
Okay.
We'll
and
be
how long will kids be able to stay there?
So we can house them all the way until 21,
okay.
and we're hoping maybe we can figure out some things that we can actually work with. We're hoping to work with more homeless youth as we move forward too. So we may be able to even help them beyond that 21st birthday. So depending on when they moved in, but a lot of kids move in from 18. They can stay with us from 18 to 21 or until they're feeling ready and they've got the resources to be on their own. Yeah. We want it to be on their terms if possible. So.
Okay, this is Casey Ray with the Good Samaritan Boys Ranch talking about the Footsteps Transitional Living Program. Thank you so much for being here and shedding light on that. And of course, if you want some information on foster care, you can always go to your website as well for more information, correct?
Absolutely. Go to ranchlife.org.
Okay, very good. Thanks so much for being here. We'll be right back with more Ozarks Tonight.